Does veganism need a rebrand? Because when we turn compassion into competition, we stop saving animals and start devouring our own. This all started a few weeks ago with the hat that broke the internet, or the vegan internet. It started, as all these things do, with a hat. Sophie Warplington, better known as sophsplantkitchen, posted a hiking photo. She wasn't deep frying a steak or endorsing a dairy brand. She was wearing a wool hat. That's it. And within hours, the vegan internet caught fire. The comment section turned into a tribunal. Posts were dissecting her ethics, like crime scene evidence. Posts that once thanked her for helping them go plant-based were now calling her a fraud. All over a hat. Now for clarity, if you hadn't already guessed, I'm vegan. I don't wear wool. I believe in minimising harm as much as humanly possible. But I also believe this. Sophie isn't the problem. We are. Because while we're tearing each other apart over a beanie, the real villains, the factory farms, the corporations, are sitting back watching us self-destruct thinking, we didn't even have to try. Because the movement is starting to eat its own. Veganism was born out of compassion. For animals. For the planet. For people. But then somewhere along the way, compassion turned into competition. Now, it's not enough to be plant-based. You have to be perfectly plant-based. You can't just care. You have to care louder, stricter, purer. We've created a hierarchy of morality, where the smallest slip-ups then become scandals. You wore wool? Oh, you're cancelled. You have pre-vegan Doc Martens in your wardrobe? Fucking hypocrite. You shared a recipe that includes store-bought hummus? That has palm oil? You're a monster. This isn't activism. It is, in fact, self-sabotage. When the goal becomes being the most vegan in the room, we lose sight of why we walked in there in the first place. Because there's this myth of the perfect vegan. Guess what? There's no such thing as the perfect vegan. You can avoid meat, dairy, leather, wool, whatever else. Silk. But somewhere, somehow, you're still touching a system that exploits animals or harms the planet in some way. Your phone, your car, your shoes, your medicine, they all have hidden costs. Even the glue that holds your seats together, your shoes together, just things in general together, probably started life as a horse. You can only control so much. The rest, you mitigate, not erase. I remember Chris Packham once said he still wears his 10-year-old leather belt and will only replace it when it breaks. Because throwing it away now would be wasteful. That's the nuance that gets lost in the noise. Ethics aren't binary. They're layered. They're messy. Deeply human. The point of veganism was never perfection. It was just progressing. And then we just forgot what the mission was. We're so busy arguing about wool hats that we've forgotten 200 million animals get slaughtered every day daily. We're policing each other while the meat industry rebrands itself as high welfare and then keeps cashing in. We think we're fighting for animals, but half the time we're just fighting for ego. We've turned activism into an identity, and then we turn that identity into ammunition. And if someone dares to admit they're still learning, they're done. No wonder people are scared to call themselves a vegan. Because we've made the word radioactive. So I'm making the case for imperfect vegans. Because we need to bring back nuance. Because veganism doesn't spread through guilt, it spreads through curiosity, compassion, community. Imperfect vegans are the bridge. They're the ones showing the change is possible, even if it's not the most polished. They're the people out there getting people to try oat milk, or meatless Mondays, or trying to buy secondhand instead of new. If we gatekeep passion, we gatekeep progress. You don't create a kinder world by shaming people who are trying to build it with you. Veganism needs a rebrand, back to its roots. Back to what it was. Doesn't need a new look. It needs a reminder of what it's meant to be. A movement rooted in empathy. That doesn't mean letting everything slide. It means remembering context. Intent matters. Education matters. The mission matters. If someone's wearing a wool hat, maybe start with a conversation instead of a crucifixion. Because that one person in a wool hat might have still convinced thousands of people to stop eating meat. And that trade-off, that's how you win the long game. So compassion over perfection. So no, Sophie is not the enemy. And neither is the person trying, failing, learning, and then trying again. The enemy is still the same as it always has been. Cruelty, exploitation, indifference. If we forget that, the word vegan will mean less compassion and more control. And that is not a future I signed up for. Because if we can't make space for imperfect vegans, we'll lose the fight before we even finish it. But what do I know? I'm just a nutritionist. Go on. Hit that. YouTube knows what you want to watch next.